Writing. The CEO mocked a single dad in front of her bodyguard, then watched him drop the guard in seconds. The crowded outdoor business expo buzzed with energy beneath a bright blue afternoon sky. Luxury vehicles lined the entrance, cameras flashed from every direction, and hundreds of guests moved between elegant white tents where some of the city's most powerful entrepreneurs gathered. Yet among all the expensive suits and polished appearances, one moment froze the entire event. A tall bodyguard crashed onto the grass. The 6'4" security professional, a man trained to handle threats and protect executives, hit the ground in less than 3 seconds. And the person standing calmly above him wasn't a fighter, a celebrity athlete, or a security expert. He was a single father carrying a small backpack decorated with cartoon stickers. The shocked silence that followed seemed to swallow the entire venue. Before we continue, if you believe kindness matters more than status and that everyone deserves a second chance, please like this video, comment where you're watching from, share this story with someone who believes in compassion, and subscribe to Wisdom Story House for more inspiring stories that touch the heart. The man standing in the center of everyone's attention was named Rowan Mercer. At 38 years old, Rowan looked ordinary in every possible way. His faded blue shirt showed signs of years of use. His shoes were clean but worn. His dark hair carried streaks of gray that had arrived much earlier than expected. Most people who saw him assumed he lived a simple life. They were correct. Every morning before sunrise, Rowan woke up to prepare breakfast for his 9-year-old daughter, Ivy. He packed her lunch, helped her with homework, and worked long hours repairing industrial equipment for local businesses. Ever since his wife passed away 4 years earlier after a sudden illness, Rowan had devoted every part of himself to raising his daughter. Life had not been easy. Medical bills had consumed nearly all their savings. Long workdays left him exhausted. Some nights he stayed awake wondering how he would manage another month. But no matter how difficult things became, Rowan never allowed his daughter to see his fear. To Ivy, her father was a hero. And heroes keep moving forward. The business expo that day wasn't a place Rowan normally visited. He had received a temporary contract to inspect several expensive machines displayed by major corporations. The extra income would help cover Ivy's upcoming school expenses. While performing his work, Rowan remained focused and professional. Unfortunately, not everyone viewed him with the same respect. One of the event's featured speakers was Celine Voss, the celebrated CEO of a rapidly expanding technology company. At 34, Celine was known throughout the industry as a brilliant strategist who transformed struggling businesses into profitable giants. People admired her success. They admired her confidence. But many feared her arrogance. Years of constant praise had convinced Celine that success reflected superiority. She often judged people within seconds of meeting them. Their clothes. Their cars. Their appearance. Their status. To her, these things revealed everything. That afternoon, as photographers followed her through the expo grounds, Celine noticed Rowan kneeling beside a large industrial machine while checking its internal components. She barely glanced at his identification badge. Instead, she noticed the worn backpack resting beside him. She noticed the inexpensive clothes. And she noticed Ivy's colorful cartoon keychain hanging from the zipper. Without understanding anything about the man before her, Celine immediately reached a conclusion. Several guests nearby overheard her making dismissive comments about how some people clearly didn't belong at events designed for successful professionals. Laughter followed from a few individuals eager to impress the powerful CEO. Rowan heard every word. For a brief moment, pain flashed across his face. Not because the comments hurt his pride, but because people like Celine reminded him how often society overlooked ordinary parents struggling to build meaningful lives. Still, Rowan remained silent. He returned to his work. He had learned long ago that dignity often means refusing to participate in someone else's cruelty. Yet fate had other plans. A short time later, Celine approached another display area surrounded by investors and reporters. Her personal bodyguard, a highly trained former military specialist named Victor Hale, remained close behind. Victor was respected throughout private security circles. Strong, disciplined, professional. Few people questioned his abilities. As the crowd moved through a narrow section of the expo, a sudden commotion erupted near one of the heavy display structures. A support mechanism malfunctioned. Several thousand pounds of equipment shifted unexpectedly. People screamed. Guests scattered. The unstable structure began leaning toward a group of children attending the family section of the event. Everything happened in seconds. Victor immediately moved to protect Celine. Security teams rushed forward. But none of them were close enough to reach the danger zone. Except Rowan. Without hesitation, he sprinted toward the collapsing structure. His years repairing industrial systems had taught him exactly how the equipment functioned. As panic spread around him, Rowan reached the unstable support assembly and reacted instantly. He located the emergency stabilization release. Then he used precise movements to redirect the shifting weight. The structure stopped moving. The children were safe. The crowd erupted into applause. Parents hugged their children. Event organizers rushed forward in relief. What could have become a terrible tragedy had been prevented by one man. The same man Celine had mocked less than an hour earlier. Yet instead of gratitude, embarrassment began transforming into defensiveness inside her. She disliked being proven wrong. Especially in public. Trying to regain control of the situation, Celine dismissed Rowan's actions as simple luck. Some guests exchanged uncomfortable glances. Others looked disappointed. Victor remained silent. He had witnessed exactly what happened. And he knew luck had nothing to do with it. As conversations continued, one attendee jokingly suggested that Rowan seemed more capable than most security personnel present. The comment was intended as humor. But Celine took it seriously. Determined to protect her image, she laughed and implied that her bodyguard could handle challenges Rowan could never imagine. The crowd grew quiet. Victor himself appeared uncomfortable. Then something unexpected happened. Rowan smiled politely. Not arrogantly. Not aggressively. Just calmly. A few minutes later, while discussing the incident with event staff, Victor approached Rowan privately. Curious about the man's remarkable awareness and composure under pressure, he asked about his background. The answer stunned him. Years earlier, before marriage and family responsibilities changed his path, Rowan had spent nearly a decade teaching defensive tactics and emergency response training to military recruits, security teams, and law enforcement professionals. He had left that career behind after choosing a quieter life with his family. Few people knew about that chapter. He rarely mentioned it. There was no reason to. Victor's expression immediately changed. As they continued talking, professional curiosity led to a friendly demonstration in an open training area used by security vendors during the expo. The gathering crowd expected entertainment. What they witnessed instead was expertise. The demonstration began casually. Victor attempted a standard control technique commonly used by executive protection specialists. Before anyone fully understood what happened, Rowan smoothly redirected the movement, neutralized the hold, and placed Victor on the ground without causing harm. The entire sequence lasted seconds. Gasps echoed through the crowd. Even Victor laughed as he stood up. He recognized exceptional skill when he saw it. There was no humiliation. No hostility. Only respect. But across the field, Celine watched in disbelief. The man she had judged as insignificant had just outperformed one of the most highly trained professionals in her organization. More importantly, he had done so with complete humility. For the first time that day, Celine felt something unfamiliar. Shame. As the afternoon continued, fragments of Rowan's story spread among attendees. People learned about the wife he had lost, the daughter he was raising alone, the sacrifices he made every day, the opportunities he had abandoned to prioritize family, the challenges he faced without complaint, and the kindness he showed despite hardship. The image Celine had created in her mind collapsed completely. That evening, as the event approached its conclusion, she found herself unable to stop thinking about Rowan. Success had given her wealth, recognition, influence. Yet somehow she felt smaller than the man she had mocked. When the expo ended, she searched for him. She eventually found Rowan sitting beneath a tree near the parking area, reviewing school artwork his daughter had placed inside his backpack. The setting sun painted soft light across the open field. For a long moment, Celine simply stood there. Then she approached. This time there were no cameras, no reporters, no audience. Only honesty. She offered a sincere apology. Not because her reputation required it. Not because others expected it. But because she genuinely understood the harm caused by her assumptions. Rowan listened quietly. Then he surprised her once again. He accepted the apology immediately. No bitterness. No revenge. No lecture. Life had taught him that carrying resentment only creates heavier burdens. The conversation that followed changed both of them. Celine spoke openly about the pressure of leadership, the loneliness hidden beneath achievement, and the fear of appearing weak. Rowan shared lessons learned through grief, parenthood, and perseverance. By the time darkness approached, both understood something important. People are far more than appearances. Far more than titles. Far more than bank accounts. Weeks later, Celine launched a new initiative within her company focused on supporting single parents entering the workforce. Flexible schedules, childcare assistance, and training opportunities became central priorities. Many employees benefited. Entire families benefited. And every decision traced back to a lesson learned from one ordinary father. Meanwhile, Rowan continued living much as he always had. He still packed lunches. Still worked long hours. Still helped Ivy with homework every evening. But one day, while attending a school event, he noticed something different. A letter had arrived. Inside was a scholarship program created specifically for children of hardworking single parents. Ivy had been selected as one of the first recipients. The opportunity would help secure her future. Rowan stared at the letter with tears in his eyes. Not because of the financial assistance, but because someone had remembered. Someone had listened. Someone had changed. And sometimes that is how real transformation begins. Before we reach the ending, if this story has touched your heart even a little, please take a moment to like the video, leave a comment, and share it with others who need a reminder that kindness is never wasted. Special request: comment below with the words, "Character matters," if you believe a person's true value comes from their heart, not their appearance or status. Months later, Ivy stood on a school stage accepting an academic award while her father watched proudly from the audience. Among the guests was Celine, sitting quietly in the back row. No cameras followed her. No reporters surrounded her. She was simply there to support a family that had unknowingly changed her life. As applause filled the room, Rowan looked at his daughter and smiled. The strongest people are not always the richest. The wisest people are not always the most famous. And the greatest victories are not won through power. They are won through kindness, humility, and the courage to see the humanity in others. The CEO had mocked a single father in front of her bodyguard. But in the end, she witnessed something far more powerful than strength. She witnessed character. And character is the one thing no title can buy.